Hi children, how are you all? I hope all you are fine. Children, in the previous video what we discussed, we discussed about that worksheet 4 related problems, right? And here in this video we are going to discuss about that concept 5 which is related to transversal, and this is the last concept from this topic. Okay, what is that ma? Transversal. Okay, what is the meaning of the transversal? Okay, see here the definition of transversal is a line which intersects two or more lines at distinct points. At distinct means different points. Distinct points. What is the meaning of distinct ma? Different. Distinct is nothing but different points is called a transversal. Is called a transversal. Understood ma? Now here say that a line which intersects two or more lines, which means see here this is one of the line, this is another line. Okay, just I taken here three lines. These three lines also intersect by a line. Okay, a line which intersects three different lines at three different points. Understood? Which means here a line which intersects two or more lines, here 3 or 4 lines, whatever it may be, a line which intersects two or more lines at distinct points. At distinct points means here this is one of the point, here this is the second point, this is the third point. Why? Because here a line which intersects three different lines, that's why we got here three different points. Understood ma? Now here a line which intersects two or more lines at distinct points, then that line is there, no, this line is called the transversal. Understood? Here this is L, M, N. L, M, N are the three lines. These three lines also intersect by the line N. Okay, now here N is called a transversal. Understood? Here N is a transversal. Understood ma? And in the same way here, see that here this is one of the point, no, just I am taking this point as A, B and C. Okay children, now here the distance between 2 points on that transversal, the distance between 2 points on a transversal, two different points on a transversal is called intercept. The distance between A and B. Okay, the distance between the two distinct points on a transversal is called intercept. Okay ma? Now here see that the distance between AB is called that intercept. What we will call this distance? The distance is called here intercept. Okay, how we can write this one means intercept AB. This is the representation. Okay ma? See that the distance between any 2 points, see here the distance between B and C is also called intercept. That distance is also called intercept, and we can write this one as BC. Understood? Now here see that this is about that transversal. Now here see that ma, angle made by a transversal. Actually I told you that here if two lines are intersecting lines, then here how many angles we can observe here? If two lines are intersecting lines, then we can observe that 4 angles at intersecting point. Understood? Now here these two lines are just intersecting lines. Okay, a line which intersects other two intersecting lines. Now here how many distant points we can observe here? 2 distant points we can observe. Understood ma? This is N, L, M. Now we can say that L and N are intersecting lines, yes or no? Yes, why? Because these two lines are passing through the same point. Then we can say that A is point of intersection. And in the same way, N and M also intersecting lines. This is B. Understood? Now here how many angles we can observe by that transversal? Okay, here transversal is having that two different points. At that one point we can observe that four different angles. Okay, at that one point we can observe that four angles. Now here two different points there, no? Then how many angles we can observe here? Yes, of course, here four angles, here four angles. 4 plus 4, 8 angles we can observe that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. Understood, ma? Then here angle made by a transversal. How many angles we can observe here? Totally 8 angles we can observe that. And in the same way, a transversal passing through the 3 lines. Passing through 3 lines. Then here how many angles we can observe that? How many intersecting points are there here? 3 intersecting points are there. At that each intersecting point we can observe that 4 angles. Then here 5, 6, 7, 8. And here also 9, 10, 11, 12. Now here we can observe that children 12 angles, no? Now here see that, ma'am. So at that how many distant points are there means at that each distant point we can observe that 4 angles. Then here how many distant points are there? Depends on that one we can calculate that totally how many angles are formed by that a transversal. Okay, now here next concept is angles made by a transversal. Okay, just now only we learned now how many angles will be formed. Now here which kind of angles will be formed here? Understood? Angles made by a transversal. Angles made by a transversal. Okay, ma? Now here see that two intersecting lines, L and M are two intersecting lines and N is a transversal. N is a transversal. Then here how many angles we can observe here? 2 distant points only, no? Then we can say that here 8 angles will be formed. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Understood? Now what are the names of that angles now? Okay, now here say that totally how many angles will be formed here? 8 angles. Now here what are the names of that angles? What are the pairs of angles? What we will call them? Understood? That concept we will learn here. Okay, now here see that, ma. First one is interior angles and second one is exterior angles. First one is interior angles. Interior angles. Interior angles means what, ma, here? Interior angles means just say that the angles which lies inside of the intersecting lines. Angles which lies inside of the two lines. Inside of the two lines which angles are there? Those angles are called interior angles. Understood? Now here which angles we can say here? Angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, angle 6. Which means the angles which lies inside of the two intersecting lines. Okay, inside angles we will call them as interior angles. Okay, ma. Next second one, exterior angles. Interior completed, no? Next one, exterior angles. Exterior angles means the angles which lies outside of the lines. Outside of the lines means this is outside and this is also outside only, no? Then here angles which lies outside of that lines, then we will call those angles are exterior angles. Okay, now here which angles are exterior, ma? Here 1, 2. Angle 1, angle 2. And come to this one, here which angles are exterior? Angle 7, angle 8. Understood? Totally here 8 angles we can observe here. Those 8 angles also, 4 angles are interior angles and 4 angles are exterior angles. Understood, ma? Now here next one is alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. And in the same way alternate exterior angles. Understood? Alternate interior angles and in the same way alternate exterior angles, and those two types of angles we will call them as alternate angles. What we will call them, ma? Those two are alternate angles. Understood? Alternate angles means, see here, The first point is both the angles. Here pairs of angles we have to check. Pairs means how many angles we can check here? 2 angles. Okay. Now here two angles we can observe here. Understood? Now both angles lies both sides of a transversal. Both sides of a transversal. Both sides of a transversal, which means see here this is a transversal, here n is a transversal, no, and here two angles lies both sides means right side of the transversal and left side of the transversal, which means right side of the transversal one of the angle is there, another angle will be there at left hand side of transversal. Understood? Now here see that what are the properties of alternate angles. First see that both angles lies both sides of the transversal. Okay, that is the first point. If the angles are interior, then the angles are said to be, alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. Understood ma? What is the definition of that alternate angles? Two angles lies both sides of the transversal. Okay, clear? If those two angles also interior angles, two angles which lies both sides of the transversal, no, and those two angles also interior angles, which means here, okay, two interior angles, then here we can say that those two angles are alternate interior angles. Okay, and one more point, both angles lies both sides of a transversal at distinct points. At distinct points ma. At distinct points means those two angles are not adjacent angles. Those two angles are not adjacent angles. Then you have an idea here. I think you got an idea which angles are alternate interior angles here. Just say that at two distant points, which means here this is one of the distant point and this is another distant point. Okay, as per the definition of that alternate angles, here both angles lies same side, lies both sides of the transversal. Okay, both sides of the transversal means, for example, 3 and 4. 3, 4, 5, 6 are the interior angles. Now we are talking about that alternate interior angles, no? Now here 3, 4, 5, 6 are interior angles. Just say that. Two angles lies both sides of the transversal. Then we can take that 3 and 4. Understood? Okay. At distinct points, 3 and 4 are adjacent angles. Okay. But at a distant point means those two are non-adjacent angles. At that cases you have to check that 3 and 5. 3 and 5. Understood? Then here which angles are alternate interior angles ma? Angle 3, angle 5, and in the same way another pair also there, no? Angle 4, angle 6. Angle 4 and 6 lies both sides of the transversal, and those two angles also formed at two distant points, and those two angles are interior angles. All the points are satisfied now here. Okay, then 4, 6 also interior angles. Then angle 4, angle 6 are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. Understood? Next, alternate exterior angles means if two angles lies exterior, then those angles are said to be, alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles. Okay, children. Did you understand this one, ma? Now here see that what about that alternate exterior angles means here two angles lies both sides of the transversal and those two angles must be exterior, and in the same way here those two angles formed at two distinct points. Two distinct points. Then which angles are exterior, alternate exterior angles? First observe that which angles are exterior angles here. Exterior angles are 1, 2, 7, 8. Those four are the exterior angles. Now here see that as per the definition of alternate angles, here those two angles lies exterior. Exterior means 1, 2, 7, 8 and formed at two distinct points, which means one of the angle is formed at one point, another angle should be formed at another point, and in the same way those two angles lies both sides of the transversal. Then here angle 1 and angle 7 are the alternate exterior angles. Understood, ma? Just observe that these two follows that all the points are not, see here 1 and 7 are exterior angles. 1 and 7 are lies both sides of the transversal. And in the same way, 1 is formed at one point and 7 is formed at another point. Understood? At two distinct points. Then here all the points are satisfied or not? Yes, of course. Then here which angles are alternate exterior angles, ma? Angle 1, 7 and angle 2, 8. Understood? Angle 1, 7 and in the same way angle 2, angle 8 are alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles. Understood? Children, just observe that here how many angles totally we can observe, ma? Here also 8 angles. Depends on the places we can define that one as alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles. Okay, ma. Now here how to identify that alternate angles. How to identify that alternate angles in other some questions. Okay. Always you can observe that Z shape. Which shape, ma? This is Z shape. Okay, at that corner, here which angle is there? This is also equal to the same angle. Just observe that these two lines are intersecting lines or parallel lines. Parallel lines conditions we will discuss later. And this is a transversal. Yes or no? Why? Because this transversal line intersects that these two lines at two distinct points. Understood, ma? Then here this is one of the angle and this is one of the angle. Okay, and here these two are alternate interior angles. Understood? And in the same way, just if you extended this one like this, this one also extended like this, here which angle is there? Here also one of the angle is there, no, theta 2, and here also some theta 3. Theta 2 and theta 3 are also, these two also alternate exterior angles. Understood, ma? Then here which shape we can observe here? Z shape. Okay, alternate interior angles we can observe in that Z shape figure. Okay, for example, like this one of the figure they given. Like this one of the figure they given to you. Just see here, ma. Here angle is X and here angle is equal to 60 they given. Okay, then what is the angle at X means here we can observe that Z shape here. This is the shape of Z only, no? Then we can say that X and 60, those two are alternate angles. X and 60 are alternate angles. Which shape we can observe here? Z shape. And in the same way, reverse Z also we can observe here. Reverse Z. See that, ma? This is also Z shape only, no? Reverse Z. So here these two angles are alternate interior angles. Am I clear to you, children? Yes. So by which figure, by which letter we can observe that alternate exterior angles or interior angles, ma? Letter Z, capital Z. Understood? Yes. So in this video what we learned, ma? We learned about the transversal and in the same way angles made by a transversal. Here first type of angles made by transversal is interior angles, exterior angles is the second one, and the third one is alternate angles. In that alternate angles again we learned about that alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles. Okay. In that next video we will discuss about that some other types of angles also there. What are those means? Corresponding angles, co-interior angles, co-exterior angles. Okay ma? About these all angles we will discuss in that next video. Okay, thank you all.